Peace and blessings, dear family. Um, I'm in sort of a chill mode at my house, and I'm just going to speak from the spirit that I'm in. You know, I don't really post videos so that, for the likes. I share because there's information in these videos that I believe people will draw from. And so I'm kind of in a chill mode and just want to share my thoughts if they mean anything. What resurrection is to me. And of course, people will on today talk about a lot of things that resurrection is. And I'm not saying they're wrong. I'm just sharing from my viewpoint what resurrection is to me. What you'll find in life is people can tell you all kinds of stuff, they can give you stuff, but until it's meaningful to you, until it's valuable to you, it won't serve you any purpose. Let me give an example. There are a lot of people who have family heirlooms or jewelry or, a family business, and they want to give it to, one of the children. Great rising, my sister, great rising, great rising. They want to give it to one of their children, and their children don't find meaning in it. I remember there was a brother who had a cleaners for years, doing well in the Dixwell Avenue area of New Haven. Well-known cleaners, used to clean well, family business. But none of his sons wanted to do cleaning. They didn't understand the value. The business had no meaning to them. And so a lot of times, you can tell people stuff, but if it doesn't have value, if it doesn't have meaning to them, it serves no purpose. So what I want to do is just share from my viewpoint if it means anything. Again, I don't post because I think I'm this great speaker or great spiritual person. I just share because I think there might be some people who can get something out of what I say. So big up to you if you're listening for a minute, if you're listening for a second, or if you listen to the whole thing. Now, what does resurrection mean to me? Now, resurrection um, is actually the process of renewal. It's the process of moving from death to life. And that process can be done on a whole lot of levels. A lot of us don't have to die physically in order to be moved from death to life. There's all kinds of death. And we have to understand that some of us are physically alive, but we ain't fully alive. Some of us are living, but we not living. And some of us get up every day, but we are not resurrected. You understand what I'm saying? Grand rising, my brother. Grand rising, brother Talib. Always good to hear from my brother. This is a brother, no matter what, we do or die. You know what I mean? This is one of those brothers that, brother, that there's brotherhood and there's brotherhood with the capital B. And of course, that's my brother. We love each other, man. We're there for each other. Grand rising, my brother. So let's talk about what resurrection means to me. Now, what I'd like you to share as things come up is what it may mean to you, because nothing, again, is going to be valuable to us without meaning. Now, you can give a person $1 million euros, or you can give them, some zen, some yen. But until it means something to that person, they won't value it. That's why on the internet, kicking knowledge, oh man, people kick knowledge all day. But until people, grand rising, my dear sister, grand rising to you, Sister Oya in the house. But until the knowledge means something to you, it'll sit there. You know how many times I had books that people gave me? I put them in my basement. I put them downstairs. And at some point in my life, I said, Damn. Let me go back to this book that I was given. It actually means something right now. So until something is meaningful to you, you don't have any value in it. So a lot of people are upset because they are kicking knowledge, but the general population may not pick it up until it's time. They have an old saying, when the student is ready, the teacher is present. In fact, I got to correct that. The teacher is always there waiting for the student until the student sees value in what the teacher is teaching. Then the student will be ready. I'll give an example. Let's look at now all of this knowledge about eating and people having, what's it called again? Sea moss. Man, do you know I grew up in a Jamaican household? Sea moss was just on the stove. I got tired of sea moss. I wanted to go out, have McDonald's like everybody else. I wanted to eat what my friends are eating, but my mother had iris moss on the stove. Boy, I have to eat iris moss to grow up strong. And now I'm reading all these people are eating sea moss. And what had been there for years in the West Indian population is now of value in the regular population, especially at the time that they had COVID. So my thing is, I'm not going to chase people who don't find value in what I'm saying. The few people who find value in it, cool. And if you got something for me that I find value in, cool. Now I'm going to quickly share resurrection, what it means to me on 3 levels. Number 1, there are some of us that are physically alive, mentally dead. Physically alive, mentally dead. One of the symbols for resurrection is the cross. You got an upright perpendicular with a sleeping or a dead perpendicular. And what happens is every day we meet these two and we got to make a decision. Sometimes our decisions will cause us to grow vertically in knowledge. And sometimes our decisions will bring us closer and closer to death. So the symbol of the cross represents a dichotomy in decision making. That if we make a decision, that decision may bring us from death to life, or it may bring us closer to death. We're in like a crossroads or a crosshair. And every day, based on our decisions, we either get closer to life or closer to death based on our mentality. So there are a lot of us. I want to big up and send love to my brother DMX. DMX has been through it, man. DMX has been on a journey. DMX has been in the belly of the beast in prison. DMX started his life at a young age being introduced to crack. Somebody at a young age made a decision, and he shares this, an older G that he looked up to, gave DMX what he thought was weed, but was laced with crack. And once he got a hit of that crack, he said he started chasing that high. How many of us chase things? Think about that. Now, let me shed some light. People say this is a universe of attraction. And if you work on your attracting power, which is first based on the law of gravity and being central and centralized and being solid, there's a law in the universe that everything that is central. Now, this whole idea of Easter is based on the seasons. The seasons. My sister said right at 12 years old. That's right, sis. You know, it's based on the seasons. And there's a season that the earth it's rotating and it dips and it's winter. So there's festivals for winter, like Christmas is really based on a winter festival. Diwali is based on a winter festival where people know, they believe that the sun was the center and the sun pulled everything to it. So what people did, instead of, looking for the center or becoming the center, they based their worship on the true center that they thought called the sun. So the sun was the purpose and reason for a lot of people living. And the sun is what causes gravitational pull. But the sun in Arabic or Hebrew, the sun, which is the sun that we learn about, which is 853,000 miles in diameter, can also be called the son, because in the Hebrew, in the Aramaic, the vowels are interchangeable. So when some people called on the Son of God, they weren't talking about a man. They were talking about that ball of fire, that light that centered them. And if they could understand how to become centered so they didn't get pulled to excesses. Drugs is an excess. Sex is an excess. Food is an excess. And when people are centered, they don't run after their appetites. They don't run after food because gluttony causes you to get big. And so our faith in a higher power that centers us would cause us not to chase after food. Because if you chase after food, you get big, you get heavy and out of control. Sex has its purpose. Sex is wonderful. Sex is wonderful, y'all. Anyway, sex is wonderful. But chasing sex from person to person, it makes your life unbalanced. So you chase one person to another person and you neglect the fact that sexual activity is powerful when you're centered. Same thing when peace and blessings, Sister Gwen, always good to hear from you. You know what I mean? My sister, I love the fact that you share a lot of my material, the things I'm doing for the children. Blessings to you. Now we're talking about why some people worship the Son of God, S-U-N. And then later on, the vowels were interchangeable. S-U-N became S-O-N. Now let me say this. When you find an individual that represents power and balance and is centered, they become an attracting power and people want to follow them. That's what the prophets were all about. That's what the messengers were all about. Great teachers who exemplify what they teach. People are amazed by that. Wow. Man, almost they become an object of worship. And so a lot of us worship our leaders, but we don't find the value and become like our leaders. We get lazy. We stop applying the teachings to our own life. And we, as my sister said, neglect self. We have to remain balanced and centered, right, Sister Oya? And what happens is we marvel at somebody that exemplifies what we're looking for. So big up to brother DMX, we send love. My brother DMX has had a hard one, but he talks about chasing that love. One time he said this, man. DMX said, man, I was looking for love. He said, there's only two beings that give you unconditional love. He said, one is God. And he said, when you turn God backwards, you get dog. He said, I couldn't get it from the women in my life. My mother didn't give it. So I was into God, I was into my dogs. And so he would say, where my dogs at? Because my dogs, to him, the dog, he said, no matter how tough life was, he came into his house, his dog gave him love. His dog was there when he walked through the street. That's heavy. And this individual will be chasing. Now let's get back to this idea of the sun. The sun gives everything its seasons. And there's a part of the year that is called a vernal equinox. The vernal equinox is when the seasons go into what's called a spring. And the spring represents new life. Y'all understand what I'm saying? Now, new life is mental. You can be old as hell in your mind and dying and archaic and headed to death. When you start making good decisions, when you start making sound decisions, you go from death to life. When you make good decisions that bring you more life, you can be called a resurrected mind, a resurrected individual that starts making decisions from death that you've been in life. Now, I'll say this, and I'm going to say this real quick. I love hip hop, but my brother Melly Mel said it perfectly. You know, all MCs are arrogant. They're the best. And Melly Mel said, man, I destroy Eminem in a minute. I wish Eminem would step to me. And then I was asked about Biggie. And he said, Biggie ain't no top MC. He said, because in my era, if you talk gangsters and you act like a gangster, the real gangsters would show up. He said, you can't be a rapper and a gangster at the same time. You got to be one or the other. He said, right now, the statistics show in the 80s, my brother Talib would testify. Brother Talib is a fan of KRS-One. We both love KRS, and KRS had a DJ called Scott LaRock. In the 80s, there was only one death in hip hop. In the 90s, there were several deaths. But now, in 2000 and whatever, there's all kinds of deaths. Dying every day. Pop Smoke. You know what I mean? I can't even name them all. King Von. You know what I mean? I can't even name them all. Nipsey Hussle. There's deaths all the time. And so you got to make a decision, hip hop. Either you going to be an MC with a resurrected mind that can help the youth make decisions to life, or you will end up in the death that you're in. Now, Biggie's album was Life After Death. Evidently, he was thinking about dying. You understand what I'm saying? Tupac was making Machiavelli. Machiavelli is about somebody who died, faked their death, and they thought they were going to come back. If they keep thinking death, they're on their way to death. Now, every day you eat food. Y'all know food can either give you life or give you death. Dr. Sebi said it best. He said cellular food, plant food, adds life to your cells, to your body. Some of us don't even get rid of our waste. And you know the stuff we eat causes death. Matter of fact, when we go to the bathroom, it smells like death. That's all decaying particles. But you have to make a decision. What you gonna have for breakfast? You either gonna have life for breakfast or death for breakfast. Oh, you want a cigarette? Cigarette has in it maybe 20, 30 cancer-causing agents, and you know cancer is nothing but death. So I don't want to get too holier than thou, because y'all would click me off and talk about, brother, you know what I'm saying? Man, look, y'all, you ain't gonna stop me from smoking my cigs, bro. I'm gonna be smoking my embalming fluid, bro. Keep teaching, you know what I mean? Keep teaching, but you know, I'm gonna do what I do, what I does, man. So the sun represents balance. So people used to worship the sun. And one of the ways they worshiped the sun was when the sun was going away, they had winter festivals. But when the sun was returning, they had festivals like Easter, festivals of the goddess of Easter. So resurrection means to me that a person can be living, but because they don't make the right decisions every day on what they should do, they get closer to death, and they become resurrected when they reverse the process of making decisions that bring them closer to life. I was telling my young G's the other day in my homeschool,
In Bridgeport, we used to, and some of you grew up in Hartford and New Haven, we used to be able to walk from one side of town to the other. Big up Brother Rob Justice, one of my former students. Always loved to see somebody, you know what I mean? Brother, you survived the yellow and the blue, or the gold and the blue. You know what I mean? Survived your time when a lot of young brothers didn't make it. And I salute you for that, Brother Rob. I salute you for trying. I salute you for stepping up every day and trying to hustle, trying to make it. Brothers like you need to be encouraged. But anyway, I was telling them, brothers that lived in PT used to walk to the South End, to Marina, and used to walk to Marina Apartments, used to walk to the Village and watch brothers play ball on one side of town to the other. Those ball players became NBA players, the Wes Matthews and the Charles Smiths and the Chris Smiths, the John Bagleys. But now you in a society where the young people can't walk from the East End to the West End. They stuck in their own communities. They make one decision, it costs them their life. So instead of, venturing out and seeing what's out there, they stay up in the house. They either play video games or stay in their community. And when your mind doesn't travel, and when your mind doesn't expand, you get ignorant. Another way to show you're resurrected is the expansion of your mind. Free your mind, and the rest will follow. When you're truly liberated, you're mentally liberated. This globe belongs to us. It's for us to get stuck in one part of the city, it's killing us. I remember Biggie saying, he said, I can't make the same music that I used to make because I'm traveling now. I'm going throughout the world. I'm not in Bed-Stuy. I'm seeing Chinese. I'm seeing Indian people. I'm seeing economies. I'm seeing Europe. There's a bigger world out there. I'm in Africa. I got knowledge now of world. I'm not ignorant no more. I see past that. So a lot of us don't know that the little bit of money we making on the block, that's not real life. That's limited living. The little education we got, master's degree, and the job you got, bless y'all. Bless y'all for the job you got. But with your knowledge and information expanding, you wouldn't just have a building, you would own the block, own the city. I thought about it, man, going back and working for somebody. But let me say this, and let me just close it down. I share that resurrection is mental. Resurrection is also not only individual, resurrection is also a people resurrected. When people become resurrected. Now, let me say this. Y'all saw the Fred Hampton movie, huh? Judas and the Black Messiah. You know what that was about? Fred Hampton had the ability to electrify the masses. That means he had the ability to wake people up. So resurrection is just not individual. Resurrection is about a people. The problem in our community is you wake up, you start getting money, you start getting knowledge, and you got to go back to the same ignorant community again. That's what happened to Nipsey Hussle. That's why when people ask me, right? People ask me, what do you think I should do when I start making money and I start moving out and doing something? Should I stay in my hood? Should I stay in my hood? The problem is Jam Master Jay tried to stay in his hood. Nipsey Hussle tried to stay in his hood. If the hood don't wake up with you, you're going to have to go somewhere else and periodically come and wake the people up. Or your very own people who are mentally dead will seek to take your life because people who are dead don't respect the living. This is why one day you read the New Testament, the Injil. I don't count out parts of the Bible. Parts of the Bible are from the ancient books that we all read. But Jesus said it, let the dead bury the dead one time. Some people, you can't spend too much time trying to wake up. They are dead. They ain't ready. It's not until crisis hits, like when they end up in a near-death experience and they got to make a decision, or they OD, or they get shot up, or they in jail. The experience becomes their teacher. Now they ready to wake up and live on a higher plane. So don't try to spend time teaching them. Let an ass whooping teach them. Sometimes the ass whooping is the best teacher. When your life start getting beat up, then you start looking for answers. Damn, it's got to be better than this. You feel me? So I wouldn't suggest when you become this individual trying to move out that you all of a sudden start taking your business and everything back to the hood. Now, some of you may disagree. Yo, I got to keep it real, yo. I'm saying I got to go. You could do some of that. But as far as where you are, you got to be like my man Moses. Moses had to leave the people and go to the mountain, Musa, for a while, and then come back towards the people. You know what I'm saying? The master teacher that they call Yeshua Jesus, he had to leave, and he had to go away and periodically came back to the people because the people don't sometimes respect. There's a saying that a king or a prophet is not without honor except in his own country. Sometimes it be your own black folk that try to do you in. Sometimes it be your own people that try to lynch you and kill you. Sometimes it be your own envious, hard-hearted people that try to look at your success and they're trying to take you out. It don't be the open enemy. It's your friends in that circle that look at you and say, damn, he's successful. They ain't fully living yet. They are half living. They're dead on their way. And they got to either make a decision of life or they got to make a decision of death. That to me, when they start making them decisions and choices to bring life, that's resurrection. Now, lastly, resurrection to me is a resurrected planet. Resurrected planet. You know what that means? That means everywhere we go on the earth, we find peace and power. There's a verse in the Quran that says, on that day, all the salutations will be salam. All the religions talk about a day of reckoning or a day that'll be the last day or the day that we'll have a resurrection or a restoring. That don't have to come with no hocus pocus Shazam. But we are fighting to educate. There's on Netflix, there is a documentary called Seaspiracy. Talk about how we dump stuff into the sea, how we kill the planet, and how these toxins are destroying the planet that we live in. The decisions we make are not only killing us, it's killing the planet. So we really want life, we'll make different decisions. We'll stop discarding waste the wrong way. You know what I mean? We'll stop killing ourselves and killing each other. Black men will look at another black man and see that that brother is a reflection of himself. To me, and I'm gonna close on this. To me, man, listen, it ain't masculine to look at another brother and get emotional. You stepped on my foot, nigga, I'm gonna kill you. That's a brother that lacks the ability to make decisions, rational decisions that's gonna bring him life. Yo, man, what about anybody can take out a gun and kill anybody. But you trying to live, you trying to move on, you trying to make decisions that show that you got intelligence. And intelligence means that I can control things. I don't have to say nothing. My very presence and way I control things, decisions that I make all around me are going to separate me from the champs and the chumps. Any chump can make a decision and kill somebody and get killed. But it takes a champion to be calculated, a champion to know that if I make a decision and move this decision that's going to make me closer to my goal. Mastermindedness, making those decisions, making sure that tomorrow I'm going to be on a better track than today. That's resurrection to me. Now, a lot of people are going to be talking about somebody coming from a physical grave. I ain't going to argue with you, but I'm going to close saying this. I ain't never seen nobody, never heard, never scientifically, mathematically, archaeologically, anthropologically, metaphysically, see nobody physically dead. Come back from no physical hell or heaven. No, nada, ninguno, cero. That's out. I ain't never seen it. I ain't gonna argue with it. So my meaning of resurrection to people is here. Here. What decisions you made. That's what shows a resurrected mind. Bless y'all. Peace and blessings. Thank y'all for listening. Like the video, share the video, comment on the video. I appreciate y'all. Love, peace, and light.